Let's do this. So I'm Norman Kinsey with Liftoff Agent. Welcome everyone. Ina's coming in now. Welcome everyone. And the premise of today's event is we really want to put emphasis on how are we navigating working from home, everything from transactions to marketing. So we want to put together some thought leaders. This is the second time we've done this event. The last time we did was with a top male panelist, and we had some feedback. They're like, where are the females? So I'm like, all right, we're going to go ahead and get it all female panelists and girl power and hear it from all of you, because you all are thought leaders and you're moving forward and doing amazing things in your own regard, in your own networks. And so we'd love to be able to give back to this community and talk a little bit about that. So we have now 37 individuals here, and so let's go ahead with our first speaker. So we want to start off with Maureen. Maureen's over in Livermore, so welcome, and she's with Loan Depot. And to give some context, she's actually worked with my wife personally for our home, and she's also gave us a referral for another individual in Arizona as I'm looking to relocate and what have you from California. So welcome, Maureen, and we would love to hear from you. How are you navigating everything from working with your clients, Zoom meetings? How are you navigating on that side of things, being virtual, and then also are you still marketing? So give us your backstory.
Absolutely. So there are a couple things specifically that I want to share. But first of all, Norman, I want to thank you for putting this on and for bringing our real estate community together to help each other. I think it's been amazing how just the community in general has come together, but now to see our real estate community sharing tips on how to keep communicating with our clients and marketing with our clients during this time is wonderful. So thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you so much. I thank you.
So I want to share, I kind of touched on a couple of things that are put together, a couple of things that I wanted to touch on specifically. And one of those is signings. How are we signing with our clients right now? And then the other is one of the ways that I'm helping my realtor partners market to their clients right now and keep connection and continue building those relationships with their clients right now. So that first one I want to touch on is hybrid signings. And I do want to mention, if you have any questions, please put those questions up so that I can pop in and answer if there's something I can answer quickly. But hybrid signing, so how many people have had clients signing and they couldn't attend the signings, right? Mm-hmm. We can't go right now. The title offices aren't seeing anybody in person. We're having notaries go out. One of the things that my company is doing is what's called a hybrid signing. So the client is actually receiving all of their documents a day to 2 days before they're going to sign, and they get that 24 to 48 hours to review all of those documents and sign them, and then e-sign just like we do everything else, and then they're going to meet with a notary after that, and then they only have like 30 pages to sign, so it's pretty quick. I have checked in with my clients that have been going through this since this all started a few weeks ago. I've had 5 clients sign so far. All of them have really liked it. Instead of sitting there with the notary and really not having the time to read through everything, they've truly enjoyed getting to sit back, relax, read through it if they want to. Some of it's a little long and legalese, legal verbiage, and they've just been like, yeah, I've signed kind of this thing before, I don't need to. But those that are new have signed, and then I also have the ability to go on and read through it with them if it's their first time, if they haven't done it before. So of course, through this time, how are we doing that? FaceTime, right? Zoom calls. I haven't had so many Zoom calls in my life, so many online meetings in my life. Everybody wants to talk now, and everybody wants to do video, which is wonderful. So we at least get to see each other that way. But so far, my clients have truly been enjoying that. And then, of course, like I said, the notary coming in. Now, I had one client, just a little story. She's moving and in a little tiny apartment and had nowhere to sit. So she had nowhere to meet with the notary. So they actually came to my office, and I did put this on Instagram. She had all her gloves and her mask on, all her PPE. She had it all on. And then the notary came in. They sat at opposite sides of our big table. And then I was across in my office. So we were all like really far apart, more than 6 feet apart. And they did the signing. And anytime she had a question, she'd just kind of lean over and yell over to me and ask a question. And so I could be right there with her. Wow. And then they left separately. So everybody was really conscious of that distance and making sure to stay safe. So that's what we're doing for signings, and I hope you all are seeing things go smoothly as well for your clients with the signings. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, because I don't see any questions so far, so I'm going to move on to my next subject, is we see a lot of people refinancing right now. And my thought is, how can I help bring in my realtor partners to become engaged in that process? So that gives my realtor partners another opportunity to reach out to their clients. Just people are so stressed right now. It's such a stressful time. And I'm not a realtor, and the realtors are the professionals on the values. They know what the values are of the home. So I reach out to my clients when I'm talking with them and say, hey, is it okay if I reach out to your agent? Is it okay if I reach out to Leslie? Is it okay if I reach out to Barbara? And they always say yes. I've only gotten one person that said, no, I didn't like my agent. Please do not call them. But it does happen, but just the one time. So most of the time I'm then putting an email together, reaching out to the realtor and saying, hey, my so-and-so is wanting to refinance. Can you put some comps together? And then please email us both back and let us know what those look like. Again, it's another way for my realtor partners to touch base and to have that another connection with their clients, with our clients, and bringing them value and knowing that they're involved and they're still helping them. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Does anybody have any questions about maybe the verbiage that I'm using or how I'm making that connection for our realtors?
I actually have one before, if anyone's going and typing now. So how do you feel this is going to affect, your line of work moving forward? Do you see yourself going a little bit more virtual than how it has been previously with everything being in person?
Probably. So I probably, before this, met with about 80% of my clients in person, which is quite high for a lender. Yeah. So many people do just the e-signing, right? And you don't meet in person. But I have missed that connection. And I honestly have felt on a couple of items or a couple of clients that there was it's not so much a miscommunication as we just didn't have the connection that we had previously with my other clients that I got to meet in person with. Realtors, you guys get to meet in person all the time and get the fun part of going out to houses, and we're talking numbers. And I think that there can be just a kind of a disconnect if you don't get that personal connection. So while I do see probably it going to maybe 60% or even 50% doing everything online, I'm really hoping that I still get to meet with my clients in person.
Yeah, I can imagine too, because for what you're doing, it's not as fun and exciting, and you're not walking through the home. You're like, all right, let's get to the numbers. Like, so
numbers can be fun. Numbers can be fun.
That's true. That's definitely true. So I think we have a question coming in. So do you see that on your side?
Yeah, I do. What kind of tone are you using in your marketing, or are you even marketing now? So I am not sending out a lot of marketing other than making sure that my partners know that I'm here for them, that I am still working, because a lot of people, I guess, have been kind of shut down. We have not. So I actually, because we are, and what do they call us, essential? Yep. I do have the opportunity to come into the office when needed, although I'm working from home the majority of the time. But as far as marketing, my marketing is, I'm here to help you. I'm available to be a resource for you, because especially in this stressful time, that's what I want to be. I don't really want to be selling. I personally believe this is not the time to be selling people. This is the time to be a resource and available to help our clients with whatever they need.
Yeah.
Good question.
That's a really good question. No, that's awesome. It's true too, because we've had that as well, hence for Liftoff. It's like, well, how do you navigate? Because you do want to be conscious and you don't want to be like you said, you don't want to just sell. You want to be more of a resource and support and help and let them know you're still there, but, not try to sell them on something. Awesome. Well, that answers, I think, a lot on that side of things. And I am be very interested to find out what happens through this process as far as things going more so on the virtual side and what that's going to do. And who knows? I mean, I guess we don't know until after things start to get normal again and what that looks like. Yeah. And so that's awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to leave for our viewers on your side, or maybe a thought or something they should think about?
I guess, yes. The one thing is regarding the second item that I said, realtors, please reach out to your lenders and let them know that you are available to do those comps for them and available to touch base with their clients because they're your clients too. Again, it's that second touch point for you and an opportunity for everybody to show that you're working together for them.
Yeah, no, that's definitely for sure. Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you so much. That was a lot of good information. I think that definitely is going to help big time. And now we want to go over and shift our gears from the mortgage side of things to the title side of things with Shelly. Shelly Sutter is someone that has been in the business for quite a while, and she has a team, and she's seeing a lot. I mean, Shelly, how many people are on your team? I know you have a lot of reps, I believe, underneath you.
Oh, well, across Alameda and Contra Costa, we have about 200 employees.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
And then about 10%, a little less than 10% are sales folks.
Wow. Okay. So give us some of the context. What are you seeing in the marketplace? How are you navigating? How are your reps navigating? What's changing? What's like the biggest changes and some of the hurdles that you guys have been overcoming with you?
Yeah. So, well, initially the biggest thing for us, the number one thing, of course, has been the health and safety of our clients and our people. And so initially, you know, when we have a continuity plan because we had to be ready for rolling blackouts and all that. So we were ready immediately from the 17th when we first got the first shelter in place. And then, of course, the additional one on the 19th, we were ready at that point to move people home, and which was huge for us. We had the capabilities, we had the equipment, we had the ability.
Wow.
That still doesn't go without saying, it's clunky if initially. People aren't used to, we're paper people. We're still, as green as we are, there's still some paper in there, and it's hard because we will not have paper at home. No one at home can print a single thing. The protection of our clients, their information is that, you know, utmost importance. So, at this point, we have moved 75% of our staff to home, and we have 25% of the staff in the office, and those folks in the office are the people that are printing out the documents, doing funding packages, getting documents ready for notaries, but we do have locked doors, and we're not allowing the public in because we need to keep those people safe and our clients safe. But it is exciting what Maureen was talking about. We're prepared to do the RON, the remote online notaries and signings. It's coming. This situation is just parlaying that. So we're getting ready. A lot of the lenders aren't ready because they're not ready to go to anything stepping away from the traditional signatures, wet signatures on the deeds, etc. But it is starting that type of a market. The big thing, you know, of course, our commitment to service is huge. That's always, you know, making sure that we get the deals closed. The big stumbling block or the big problem initially was the county closures. The counties didn't know what they were doing. We still have a situation in Alameda County. Alameda County, it technically is saying that there, and some people might have seen flyers out saying, hey, you can e-record in Alameda County, and if you read the fine print, you really can't. So it's a little tricky. Always got to read that those marketing pieces that come out, but we're ramping up for that as well. So, and that was the only office county that was a little bit of a stickler because they don't have the electronic recordings like we do in Contra Costa. But it's coming. It's pushing those agendas that were in the past very slow. So we're excited about that. But right now, all the counties are closed to the public and only allow title company recordings. And with that, we don't have special recordings. So I know we kind of got in a habit of, hey, let's sign, close, you know, fund, close, record same day. Like, please don't do that. That hurts. All of our people go, oh, no, wait, we can't do that. We can't even guarantee that. So those type of situations where we're used to like fast, it's a little slower now. Even though we're all electronic, we're getting there because of all the shutdowns, the county shutdowns, and they're working on minimal staff in the county. It's a little bit more clunkier. Same with agents. We're still seeing this. Just got a couple deals yesterday in Oakland that were all cash 10-day closes, and that's a fire drill. So as Maureen mentioned, the rates are really good right now. The interest rates are fabulous, and that kind of backs up title when we need to get out preliminary title reports. So that happened, and then all of our title folks moved into their home offices. So the title reports, although they're getting faster each day, it's still a little bit slower. So we suggest to all the agents that when they take a new listing, to open that pre-sale escrow so that we can get all the title issues cleared up as quickly as possible, so we can be prepared for those all cash 10-day closes. So that's what we ask. And same with the lenders on the locks, 45-day locks minimum as what we're asking, hoping for. I can't ask for much, but we hope for.
Wow. That's yeah, it's a lot of changes, a lot of quick changes too. I know a lot of this stuff was not even on the ballot for California, and California now has to speed up everything on the technology side.
One thing I want to add too, we're social distancing and being cautious there. I really want to emphasize online safety skills, because right now, in the midst of the stress and the distraction, just to use caution and stay away from potential online scams. Don't open emails that you don't know who they're from. There's just so much, we see it all the time. Fortunately, when someone opens escrow with us, we have we have a tool called Start Safe. We immediately contact the buyer and seller, and we get them set up with Start Safe, and all their documentation, wire information, all their secure social security numbers and all of that, it is all through a portal. We don't even trust email with that type of information. So we use our secure Start Safe portal. And that's just been crucial because it's hard. I would say being a realtor, you put a listing on and you get people emailing you from everywhere with, hey, here's my contract, or here's an update. And it's so easy to just click on something that's a virus. And so we just really strongly caution folks to be vigilant with their online security.
Yeah, no, definitely. That adds a lot of value too. I know that another thing for Zoom is, we get comfortable in our own home. So a lot of us have laptops, so you'll be carrying your laptop around you. So just be conscious of where are you carrying your laptop and where are you going and what are you doing, and is your camera on? There's been some cases out there where people are like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go to the bathroom with my laptop and the camera on.
Right.
So if anyone Go ahead.
Oh, speaking of Zoom, that's one thing all my reps are doing in the field, and myself as well. Right now, all of our agents have had the time finally to get a refresher on some of our tools, on some of our apps. A Chicago Agent, our Walking Farm app, there's so many. We have so many tools, and it's just a great time to get a brush up, or maybe you have some mentees or some newer people on your team that don't know how to pull property profiles. Where do you pull grant deeds? All that information is available at your fingertips. Agents, learn how to do these net sheets, quickly on your phone, but learn how to do them on your desktop, because we'll show you. And it's so powerful when agents go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I could do this. And there's some really cool things that we've added recently into Chicago Agent with some lenses and infographic information on our upgraded version that we love to share, and we're sharing them. Every day we're on Zoom meetings, one-on-one meetings. A lot of times people will call and say, hey, Shell, I need help with this, and I'll just say, are you at your computer? Here, let's jump on a Zoom right now and I'll show you. And it takes 5 minutes, and it's honestly, it's connecting with each other too, because I feel really badly for so many people who are at home without kids running around and their husband, or, you know, there's a lot of people that are alone and even needing us to reach out, whether it's business or personal right now.
Wow, that's so true. And thank you for mentioning that as well. I mean, definitely there are people out there that are alone. So, you know, and that is a great point. The tools, the resources, all the things that these real estate professionals could do to be able to enhance their business. So when everything clears out, it's just like they have a better thumb on the pulse. How does this work? How does that work? They get it. They got it. And they can go to and serve their clients even better. So if anyone has any questions, we'd love to be able to have some individuals ask some questions. It looks like we have one coming in here. Do you see the questions on your site?
I'm going down. Will many flaky buyers, is that the one?
That's the one.
Who may use the current, okay, wait a minute. Now I gotta get my glasses out, you guys. This is small.
No worries.
Buyers a loan contingency to go back out of the con. What kind of supporting documents can the sellers request to protect their interests? Well, we need, in that type of situation, we need the mutual consent of both parties to be able to release the deposit. So it's got to be mutually agreed upon, if I'm getting that right. And I just ran into this week. But we need mutual instructions from both parties, as always.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you're staying compliant for sure. Looks like another one. Contact us regarding Chicago Tunnel. Okay, so it looks like someone's just giving out some information. That's awesome.
All right.
Looks like Devin. So Devin
I saw that.
Good for you, man. Here's our last panelist. That was awesome. Heather, it looks like having the comment over there. Some comments are coming in. Great information. Shelly, Chicago Title. You rock. Awesome. Fantastic. That's great. Awesome. So yeah, that was really good information. And I think that definitely it's good to, you know, just be ahead and know what's going on. And I appreciate you being a part of today's event so we can really be able to give individuals, you know, some context around what's going on. And how do you feel, question from me, how do you feel this is going to change your industry? I mean, do you see things going more online now? I mean,
you know, the funny thing is, it really opens up an opportunity for our escrow officers to work from home like they've never imagined it before. Although I have a couple people, you know, that are support people, that one's in Reno, and I have an escrow officer who has an alpaca farm, and she's been able to work from home and come in the office so many days, and we've just really perfected the flow of it. And so I think it's really great because we have so many people that that just drive from so far away. They've got to commute to Pleasanton from, you know, Merced or someplace like that, and it's just you know, maybe our freeways will be a little less clogged, our air will be a little fresher, and people will be a little happier because they'll get to see their family at 5 o'clock instead of after 2 hours of traffic. So I think there's always going to be lessons learned from these type of situations. And you know, I never work from home. I like to go in the office. So it's really been difficult for me and my poor family. But, you know, I'm learning, and the hardest part for me is the hours, because I'm an early bird, so I'm up at 5:30 no matter what, and then I'm still on the computer, and it could be 8, 9 o'clock at night, and my husband's just going, okay, you know what, put it down. Just because you know, all these computer screens are out and you've got all this stuff going on doesn't mean you have to look at it until 10 o'clock at night.
Oh
so
that's so true. And to add to that, my wife's a teacher, and now they have Google Classroom, and so they put on her yesterday like, hey, you got to take attendance, and you know, the schools get paid based off attendance, and so she's same as you, 8 o'clock at night, going through and answering questions and this and that, and she's like, well, I'm going to be ahead for tomorrow, but I'm like, where's our time? So
right.
Yeah. I definitely understand. So I think that's a whole nother, how do you have balance during these times to really be able to, because I think the contrast, I was talking to my wife too, where's the contrast? Going into the office, going to the gym, coming back home, commuting, there's those breaks, right?
Yeah.
Those breaks and contrast, you're like, well, what time is it? What day is it? Like
this scary thing is I try to put my Fitbit on every morning when I get up because I want to maximize every step, but it's so depressing when it's 5 o'clock and I've got 1,300 steps, and that's just around my kitchen to my bathroom, in the living room, maybe step outside, and I'm like, oh, I got to get steps in. So
Yeah.
it's good to get out and get some air once in a while, or at least jump on the treadmill.
So true. So true. So outside of just the business world, those are some really good things to think about. And thank you so much for all your insights. It looks like we don't have any other questions coming in. So we're going to go ahead and move on to a leasing agent. So we have basically a leasing agent from San Francisco. So a leasing agent 415. Ina, she was actually on our podcast, and she was someone that I was like, we should have her on this event because she comes from a different perspective, and she's with Compass, and she's in San Francisco. So welcome, Ina. We'd love to hear more from you, and how are you navigating? How has your business changed? And so welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. What a pleasure to be here. So my name is Ina Rubinchik. I am the leasing director at Compass in San Francisco. And basically my entire business is rentals. I do no sales. I've never done any sales. I'm a licensed broker. I'm a 2018 Leasing Manager of the Year by San Francisco Apartment Association. And last year I was the president of San Francisco Women's Council of Realtors. So I'm a mom of two, and we're really enjoying this quarantine time. Quite honestly, there has never been so much attention that my children have gotten from my husband and I, where we are doing so many awesome things together. And we're kind of fitting work into this because San Francisco rental market has always been extremely robust. San Francisco is highly transient, lots of employment, people coming, people going. And yes, it has slowed down significantly. However, for me, not much really has changed. If anything, I am marketing and promoting in full force. The adjustment to stay-at-home, shelter-in-place hasn't really changed much for me. I've learned a very long time ago to be very efficient and to take video tours of all my properties. I'm very big on social media and Instagram. Leasing Agent 415 across all platforms, and literally I have someone follow me around a property where I walk it and talk about it, and then I post it on Instagram, which automatically posts on Facebook. And if somebody is interested in a property, shelter in place or not, I will send them this link and I will tell them, here, take a look, see how you like it. And if you do like it, then we'll go take a look at it. And these days we are touring. So all of my appointments have always been by appointment tours, have always been by appointment only, always private tours. There's never an open house. So we go hazmat style. We've got masks. I've got gloves. We're 6 feet apart, but I do follow people around, answer their questions. And, it's just, because ultimately people will not, virtual tour is just not good enough. When you're spending, I represent a lot of very high-end properties. My highest end right now is $11,000 and a month. And that's, people are not going to sign a lease without seeing the place. They need to touch it. They need to smell it. They need to mentally park their furniture. They need to decorate the Christmas tree, hang their paintings and whatnot. And it's just, we're just adjusting to this kind of reality. The results of these tours have been not great, to be perfectly honest, because a lot of people believe that the market will drop significantly, the rents will drop, and they don't want to sign a $10,000 lease right now where a month from now something will be worth $7,000, right? But this is kind of where I'm going to sort of segue into my predictions part, where I think they're wrong. I think there will be a lot of pent-up demand because a lot of people are sitting in homes where, they're with their families, they're in very small quarters, and they are going to be kind of reviewing their situation, and they will be moving. I just, yesterday we signed a lease with a gentleman who literally rented the house next door to his own. Because he just can no longer be quarantined with his wife and 3 kids. He's like, I can't do it. 2 months, that's all I need. I cannot be a part of this any longer. So that happens. If you can afford it, hell, why not? I believe a lot of people will be migrating. I think a lot of people will be realizing that San Francisco is really awesome, but for amount of money that they're paying for 2-bedroom, 1-bath in the city with 2 kids, they could be, having a nice big house somewhere in Texas or Arizona or somewhere else. Then I feel also a lot of people will be moving to Peninsula, East Bay, Marin, because outdoor space will be in huge, very high demand. It'll probably be the #1 thing people will look for: deck, roof deck, garden, shared yard, whatever, anything to really be able to go get some fresh air. Because if it gets any worse and we're not allowed to get out of our own property lines, then it's just going to be a total disaster. So yeah, outdoor space will definitely be at a premium. I think new construction, all this new construction product that was built in Soma, particularly all these apartment buildings, I'm not going to name them, but we all know what they are. They're built next to Lumina, next to Millennium Tower, next to everything. Those are going to take a huge hit, I believe, because the way they're designed is that they are 400 or 500 square foot units, whether they're 1-bedrooms or studios, and they dedicate a lot of space to common areas, to pool if they have a pool, to gym and whatnot. Now with shelter in place, you can't use any of that. That's closed. So people are stuck in these 400 square foot human cages, and they're not gonna, they're just not gonna like that anymore. Especially these buildings are in less than desirable locations, and they were sold as buildings with amenities, but people will realize that this is insane to be in those 4 walls. You really, if you go outside, there's nothing there, and people will be looking for larger rentals in much more desirable locations in San Francisco. And it's just so I think those are actually going to be. I had a funny story with a developer. I walked his building. He wanted me to lease it up for him, and we're standing in this 380 square foot 1-bedroom apartment. So he's like, "This is the kitchen. This is the living room. Here's the bathroom." And he's watching my expression, and I'm not buying any of it. So he's like, "Let me show you something." So he opens this closet door. He's like, "Look at this amazing closet." And the closet is 3 feet wide by 10 feet high, because that's how tall the ceilings are. And I'm just like, my eyes roll in my head, and I look at him and I say, "Dude, honestly, an average woman is 5'4". If she's on her tiptoes and stretches her hand out, she's 5'7". What is she gonna do with space between 5'7" and 10 feet? For most women, when it comes to closets and a few other things, it's about the width, not about the length. So, so this is not good enough. So I feel like that market, that part of the segment of the market, is going to take a hit because people are just not going to buy it. People will put a lot of more thought into where they live, whether it's a rental or it's a home that they buy, because there's be so many more boxes that they have to check. So that's kind of like my prediction as to what's going to happen. So yeah, a lot of people be moving, divorcing, moving in together. So I feel like the rental market's going to be very hot afterwards. In terms of what I'm doing and what I would advise people to do is, like, I'm doing a lot of Instagramming right now. I have reached out to you, for example, and I said, "Hey, I want to be on your podcast," which I think comes out today, right?
It does. It does.
So I want to be on your podcast. I reached out to Hot Residences yesterday, and they said, "I want to be on your podcast as well." So, it's just, it's so much easier because people want to interact with each other, and people want to engage with each other, and they want to comment on each other. So, and there's so much, because on Instagram, I work with influencers, and they all told me, "Hey, there are like 8 more times of eyes on Instagram now than ever. So start promoting, start putting a lot of information out there." So I have created so many, and if you follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is very unique. And like, I started pulling stories from the past where I post pictures of the properties that I have rented. For example, I had a $22,500 penthouse in downtown San Francisco that I rented, and I wrote a story about it. So it's all about storytelling, great pictures, and kind of having a really, very engaging content. A lot of things I do is I do a lot of consultations, a lot of talking to, there are a lot of sellers who are extremely anxious right now, and they are feeling they're not going to sell the place, and they think they can rent it. And I tell them, look, if you can't sell it right now, chances of renting it are very low. People who are looking, there are very few people who are looking right now. We have no idea if we're going to be done May 3rd, or if we're going to continue through the end of June or through the end of the year. You have no idea. So commitment is very tough to come by. So I tell them that, look, let's just get through this. I know you're paying a mortgage. I know you're paying for staging. I know you're paying HOAs and whatever else you're paying, but just stick through it. There's, you know, if your agent, if your ideal goal is to sell, we'll stick to that. And if it still doesn't sell after shelter in place, then we can talk about renting it, because ultimately that's, you know, you gotta, as an agent, I feel it's most important for me to do what's right for the client rather than what's right for me. Of course, I can market it, but I shouldn't. I am talking to a lot of real estate agents because a lot of them have to feed their families, and they take on leasing, the thing they don't like to do, but they have to. So I put a video out there and I said, look, everybody in San Francisco, if you are doing leasing, I support you 100%. Let me know if you need help. Let me know if you need documents. Let me know if you have questions, how to fill them out. Let me know if you have questions about kind of addendum disclosures that need to be attached to the lease, because I'm on top of that, right? So I want to help people because there's, you know, I come from an abundance mindset, and there is more where this came from. So I'm all about helping my clients. Compass is actually, I work for Compass, so Compass has been great. They've been putting out a lot of content as to Compass University or Compass Academy. There's a lot of things that you can learn there. Steve Scholl, for example, is doing free training. You can listen to his calls for free, and you know, if this is something you are interested in and kind of free coaching, it's a great way to do it. But I think a lot of people need to be sort of rethinking their, and I preach that on my Instagram, is that people need to be rethinking their marketing, getting up and their Google My Business accounts up and ready. Like yesterday, I had 2 calls from people who found me on Google because they looked up leasing agent San Francisco, and I show up organically on the first page. And the reason I do that is because I have actually hired an SEO person who spent all this time taking it from page 66 of Google to page 1, literally organically, because I have had my website rewritten with all the right keywords, Google reviews. This is one of the biggest things. I could reach out to all your past clients and tell them, hey, I've had a 5-star experience with you. Would you mind leaving me would you also mind leaving me a review? Because you kind of tell them that you also want a 5-star review, obviously. And obviously don't reach out to anybody who's not going to leave you a 5-star review. But these are the kind of things that are super important. That's what's going to generate business for you. You know, the other thing I do is I watch and learn from some of the top producers in the country. I love Alexander team in New York. They were actually on Hot Residents podcast yesterday, and they've given me personally a lot of great thoughts around great ideas. And just, I think, you know, another thing that, and I talked about it in my podcast, is organizing your head. Like, what is really in your head? Because we got to adapt to this new world. I mean, we're not going back to our old ways, because if we do, Mother Earth is just gonna, you know, is just gonna create some other, unleash some other far more potent virus against us. So we got to be fluid and figure out how we're going to adapt to this brave new world that's out there.
Yeah, it's so true, and that's really good information. We'll be talking more about the Google My Business and some things that the community can do as a whole, being proactive in these times with marketing in mind. We do have a question here. It says, where are you targeting most of your marketing?
So a lot of my business comes from referrals, a lot of it, because again, I work for Compass, I work with the real estate elite, and I get calls from, you know, some of the top producers in the city who just have teams, and even though they have teams, they don't have the capacity of doing leasing, and all they want to do is make sure that clients are taken care of. So that's where I come in. And again, a lot of my marketing is on Instagram, because Instagram is perfect for me. It's a lot of realtors are on Instagram. So I engage with them all the time. I comment, or, you know, they post section 2-bedroom, 2-bath at whatever for sale, and I will tell them and I'll comment, and then they say, hey, do you want a rental valuation for this property? I think it will rent for so and so. Or we'll tell them, oh, I rented a unit 9B in this building for so and so much. And that's how I stay at top of everyone's mind. So I really want everybody, when they think, and I think I've achieved this, but it's obviously an ongoing process. But anytime somebody thinks rentals, my client, renting, landlord, they think of me. And in our podcast, I mentioned that I want a hologram of me pop up anytime somebody utters the word rental. But ultimately, that's kind of like where my marketing is: Instagram and agents.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely highly recommend. And if you want to put your handle in the chat for people to check you out, I would highly recommend checking out Ina, because you have some amazing content, doing some amazing things. You reached out to us, and hey, I want to be on the podcast. You're proactive, hence now here we are having you on this event. So thank you so much for giving the insights. We really appreciate it. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and shoot them and fire them now. And one thing from me, how's the city? How is San Francisco life now? Are you seeing? I mean, the streets are just empty. Traffic, everything has changed. Is it pretty different?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, there are people here and there. The only time I really go out is for a hike. I like the Midlands and hike, going down to Wild Rock Beach and just kind of stare at the ocean, and then going just to the grocery store. And it's interesting that if you go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's in the city, you stand in this long line just to get into the store, cross the bridge into Marin. Not a single person. Walk right in. Everything's in stock except Clorox wipes, of course, and toilet paper. But everything else, you just march right in, get everything you need, and it's a 10-minute drive. So I would recommend it to anybody if you live in Soma, it might be tough for you, but for the most part, it's been easy. And yeah, of course, the city is empty, and it's kind of nice, actually. I heard there are coyotes roaming the streets of San Francisco. Wow. I haven't seen any, but yeah, that's what I've heard.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much for your insight. Definitely is a help. I think that, before we never had a leasing agent, and I thought that, that could be a new way of being able to add a different context to what's going on and what happens.
Yeah. Well, leasing is a whole separate business in San Francisco. I think in San Francisco, maybe a couple more cities is the only places maybe in the world where you can actually make a living doing rentals only, because again, our rentals are, $45,000 a month, $22,000, $11,000, right? So these commissions, and because of the volume that you do, you actually can make a decent amount of money, and that creates, the business. It's kind of like a great niche, because a lot of real estate agents, they just don't want to deal with it. It's too much work, and it's just it takes their focus away from the big bucks that they're making. So I partner with so many realtors. I'm kind of like on the teams of so many of them, officially or unofficially, and it's been awesome.
Awesome, that's great. Well, fantastic. So yeah, definitely put your handle in the chat there, because we have some individuals who would love to be able to follow you. Bottom there, you can go ahead and chat that. So now we're going to switch over, and we're going to go to our next segment, and we want to get into, before we did this at the beginning, now we're going to save the best for last. Realtors, what's going on, what's happening? So we're going to go from San Francisco Compass, and we're going to go to Pleasanton, California Compass, and we're going to go ahead and go to Leslie Fott. Leslie Fott is over at Compass in Pleasanton, and she's someone that is already being proactive, has reached out to us personally, looking at doing virtual tours. So Leslie, would love to hear from you. How are you navigating with your clients, buyers, and sellers all the way to your marketing? Looks like you might be muted, so at the bottom, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. It should be on the bottom left of your screen.
There we go.
Perfect. You good to go? Good. So
okay.
Go ahead, and the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Norman, for putting this together, and Liftoff Agent. Really appreciate being a part of this this community. And boy, we've all been living a very amazing day by day, hour by hour, changing and navigating in this time. And you had mentioned, as far as asking question about, the main thing is, how is technology getting involved, right, with all of this?
Yeah.
So we're, from the real estate standpoint, 3 weeks ago, let's say, we were all ramping up for our usual spring selling, multiple offers, getting property ready, and then it just, of course, stopped. And this last couple of weeks, between not only our local association of realtors, our California Association of Realtors, and our national association of realtors, have really put together what our rules are, what are the laws in each county, what can we do? And because of safety, health and safety is definitely the most important aspect now of our world and our community and our client. So where technology has come in for me in these past weeks, as far as being in part of in a transaction, we recently did a virtual verification of condition of property with Zoom. So we had 8 people on Zoom. The seller literally walked through the home and showed each of the rooms and where the buyer could feel comfortable with the condition of the property that it was when the buyers did make their initial offer. Everything went very streamlined. So, 10 years ago, would we have been able to do this if we were in this situation? And we are, able to really take advantage of the technology. One of the things I do want to really, really thank our communities, as far as not only our lenders and title companies, everybody that's been involved throughout this process in the last couple of weeks. Everybody has just been fantastic as far as communicating and really accommodating, very proactive on communication. And I can't tell you enough, just not only for myself, but for buyers and sellers that I'm working with. Thank you. Thank you all. You've been wonderful. As far as the communication with buyers and sellers at this point, for me personally, definitely extra proactive on a daily, and maybe even depending on where we are in our transaction and our communication, really giving them updates to set at ease, because there's so much data and information that's out there, and all of the noise and the news. It's very, very frightening to a lot of people. So really just being proactive and setting some different expectations, and also keeping people at ease and keeping them, engaged through the process. One of the things that we as far as showing homes, now in California, and again, every county is different, but overall in California, it is against the law literally to show an occupied home. So we have got to make some changes as far as being able to show properties that are vacant, and really taking some very, very proactive approach on health and safety. And we all know what those are. And again, from the realtor standpoint, we're getting updated information ongoing, so to communicate that. So taking technology to another level is definitely our virtual tours, the walkthrough of the property, really, virtual open houses. It's been really interesting and really fun, and also showing, I know for me personally, just dragging me into that technology future, but also being, helped along the way to learn the learning curve very, very quickly. As far as the engaging and marketing standpoint and keeping involved in clients, technology, and I know we all have our own business models as realtors, and for technology for me has always been to facilitate and also support my systems. For me, my main way, of course, is very much relationship oriented and engaging, very, very much so, in interacting with clients. So what I have done is, in this past couple of weeks, is just reaching out, phone call, one-on-one, just checking in on a personal level. Are you okay? And not talking about real estate, not talking about that component, just primarily on a relationship level. But I also use technology to have the information prior to my phone call to the clients, what's happening in their market, what's their property worth at this point, because typically that conversation does bleed into the engagement of what is happening in real estate. So I want to be their trusted real estate advisor, knowing what's happening in that real estate market and giving them the guidance of what to prepare for after we are through, get through this situation. And so that's been very, very helpful. And then also following up, of course, with the personal note, because we can still send mail. So that's been available for that. One of the things that I do want to thank Norman and Liftoff Agent again for supporting and the dynamics and the platform that you provide for me to be able to engage with my clients. For example, any social media or any content that I want to be a resource to my community for what is happening with not only showing and selling properties, but what the stories are in particular marketplaces, and also being a resource. I give you the content and you get it to all of the necessary social media. That frees up my time and I don't have to learn that curve, and you position me very, very well. So I really appreciate you doing that, making me look great. So at that point, at this point, with, again, where technology is really coming into play, I'm very involved in our local association of realtors. So what we've seen, and I know we're all experiencing, is more virtual meetings. Our local marketing meetings have really come to play, and boy, have they, they've really done a fantastic job. And our the committee meetings on our local association, and I know California Association of Realtors and National Association of Realtors are really doing that as well. So, I think that might be something that we're going to be seeing a lot more in the future. I'll tell you, it sure focuses in and a lot more time efficient. But one of the challenges with that, I think, is one of the dynamics of being involved in any kind of community and networking is being face-to-face and seeing that real body action, feeling that, that, because that really brings us together and engages with our, our thought process too. Also, to segue over, all the virtual tours and all the information that we can place online for a future homeowner to take a look at a home. There's nothing like a potential homeowner and a buyer to go into that home and experience that home. So there are some dynamics within our contracts now that are allowing for that, one of the contingencies, I should say, for a potential homeowner to be able to physically go into the home. So a little bit of segue on that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting how it's like that give and take, right? It's like you don't need to drive, get in the car to get to the marketing meeting, but you can then be in the comfort of your home and get there quicker, and then you still have that kind of like, but you don't have that, hi, how are you? Shake a hand, give a hug, which maybe shaking hands and hugging might change. I don't know.
Yes.
Hopefully not. So we'll see. So how do you feel moving forward? And everyone go ahead and start asking some questions. If you have any questions for Leslie, how do you feel this is going to change your business moving forward, as far as with kind of just virtual showings and just in general technology now affecting your business? Do you think it's going to be a positive? Do you see it changing? Do you see it going back to how it was?
Sure. I think, one of the dynamics of this, the shelter in place has really forced, I think it's been nice to have that opportunity and technology today to be able to, do what we do. I think for me on a personal level, I definitely, this being a realtor and showing and selling homes and being a resource in the community, there's nothing like that personal relationship. I really do believe that technology is going to allow us to do the video chats, and which we already do. But I think, for me on a personal level, I know I'll incorporate that to support information that I have once I'm with clients on a personal level, and to also just, really use that as a support, but also it'll probably parlay a little bit more into my interaction on an ongoing basis, communicating with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And if we're going to go to the next couple individuals, I think we have actually someone that just came in, a couple questions right now. Great to hear from you, Leslie. She said, thank you. And then how have you been engaging with your lending and title partners through this time?
How am I? Okay, good. Thank you. Good question. Going back to really thanking the lenders and title companies to being so available. I have, usually I'll communicate via email, but gosh, they're a phone call away as well. During this time, again, things are changing ongoing, and buyers their dynamics. And one of the things that I do, for example, on the listing component and representing buyers, I'm in daily contact with my lenders, but the lenders have been very proactive on this is what's happening, where are underwriting, the conditions, appraisals. Appraisals have been, knock on wood, seems to be flowing okay. some of the lenders are being very proactive as far as engaging on, we may need a little bit more time. Can we ask for an extension? Very much communication as far as on that level as well. Title companies have been, again, just very, very flexible on providing the mobile notaries, keeping us up to date on what they're doing with recordings, what they're doing with signings, and really adapting very, very quickly to this situation.
Awesome. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and keep moving it forward. And if there's any questions that come up, we can definitely have them come in and we can go over those as well. So now we're going to go ahead and shift our gears. We're going to go to Heather, and Heather is now in San Francisco. So I feel like we're going San Francisco, back to Pleasanton, and back to San Francisco. So welcome, Heather, and thank you so much for being a part of this as well. And how are things happening in your business? How are you navigating from reaching out to your clients, talking with your clients, to your marketing activities? Give us some context on your end, and welcome.
Hi, hello everybody. Heather, San Francisco. I actually service a lot of the Bay Area as well, so it's been interesting for me to speak with East Bay agents and Peninsula agents and city agents because our boards are all kind of handling things differently. I even had a tenant occupied listing in Marin that I had to pull from the market, but now we're going to be putting it back on. So it's very interesting how everybody handles things. Like Ina said, you go to Marin and you can go to the grocery store, whereas here in San Francisco, it's 3 blocks in a line to go into the grocery store. So it is definitely different. I also have a 5-year-old. So 5-year-olds, if you've got an 11 or 12-year-old, life's a lot easier. But 5, he definitely needs a lot of attention. So that has been the first couple weeks of this were much harder in terms of our schedule and figuring this out. Okay, it's just like a long extended holiday. We're going to go back to school, dealing with the child needs more so first. But now we're further along into it, and we had, as a family, had already 2 weeks before been a little bit on self-quarantine and watch anyway, just from our own personal stuff. And what I've found for me really is that now last week I figured this out, get a schedule, keep the kid on a schedule, get up, make sure the breakfast is done, we get dressed as if we're going out for the day, we do everything we need to do. He has his school schedule online now, and I have my schedule, and I've also figured out some childcare for 4 to 5 hours a day, like 4 days a week now.
Right.
So that makes all the difference in the world, because trying to negotiate something or talk with clients and do my follow-up phone calls with my past clients, it's difficult to say, hey, how are you doing, when you have a child in the background like yelling at you to give them a popsicle. So it's been interesting, but I've found that now that last week we really got into a schedule of this is what we're doing, and then myself as well. Okay, at 9 o'clock every morning, my coaching crew that I'm with from 9 to 10 every morning, I'm in a class. He recognizes that, then he goes into a class. Then we go for a hike, and then I get my afternoon, and I get to, I really get to do good work. So in terms of my business, I actually, while we were sitting here, I just ratified a contract, so that's nice. But that's been probably a 2-week-long process where the property was on the market. My client, when they would go out to the grocery store, we'll go drive by the house. Do you like the house from the outside? Okay, working with the listing agent. Do you have any Matterport set up? No, we don't. Okay, we'll look at the pictures. That doesn't work. They'd originally taken bad pictures. So she actually connected me directly with the seller, and we had the seller do a walkthrough with his phone, and we basically got a video walkthrough from him, which was incredibly helpful. It wasn't this fancy schmancy one, but it was the seller walking through and opening the doors, and it was done on the phone, and that really helped the client to see the home, and then going to the house a couple times, not inside but on the outside, because the owners were still there. And then now we've been negotiating, and we just ratified just now, which is good. Obviously it's going to be subject to going inside the property, but I think that part's kind of a non-issue, being able to get an appraisal, all of the COVID things. So that part is great. I think for me, it's really been the schedule and following up. So I'm making phone calls to all my past clients. I'm reaching out to everybody. Mail still works. So I decided a week ago, I said, all right, all my clients with kids that are working from home are probably losing their minds just as much as I'm losing my mind with my adorable little 5-year-olds. So I went on and I ordered all of my clients a box of Easter cookies, and everybody got them yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, so everybody, you know, everyone's like, oh my God, it's like our kids are so happy. What a blessing. Thank you for thinking about us. And this afternoon I have 2 virtual listing appointments from that already, which is pretty cool. You know, and one of them is a vacant property that they're like, we have a lockbox on it. I'm like, I can go there on my own and look at it and give you a valuation for that. No problem. But it, you know, just the little things, the connections, and like one of you guys said, it's not about sales. It's just about checking in with the client, especially your past clients. I think my business at this point, a huge portion of my business is past client referral basis. I have, interestingly, in the last week and a half, also had 3 people reach out to me from the internet saying, hey, Heather, we want you to be our agent. We see your reviews. We see that you're still working. Will you please be our agent? We've been trying for 6 months and we're so fed up, and our agent is like, not even, like, we're done with them. They're not even responding to us at all. And I'm like, huh, wow. You know, you don't know what's going on with that person. So, you know, but the online reviews, I think, are very important. Keeping a presence online. I personally, I'm a San Francisco native, so like my personal Facebook page is where I, how do I word it? Where I get funny, where I have no filter on my mouth, and I actually end up getting a lot more business from that page than my business page, which is interesting. And from that, I think I've had a whole bunch of people private messaging me for different things, or I notice, you know, one of my friends, they're getting, you know, they weren't able to pay all of their rent on the first, only partial, and then all of a sudden they're getting a notice to vacate, and I'm like, hey, that's not okay, you know, here, let me guide you in the right direction of how to handle things, and they really appreciate that. So I think it's really being a voice of help. Also, all my clients, so what I did is I went through all my past clients, and I said, any of my clients that were 1099 buyers at the time when they purchased their home, or I know that they're running their own businesses, I gave them the same links that my CPA gave me in terms of the SBA loans, in terms of, hey, file for the PPP, file for the EIDL loan, talk to your CPA, talk to your people, and help you to get through this. Don't freak out. And so many of them have been so thankful for that, because they're freaking out as well, right? A lot of 1099 workers are. So being kind of we behind the scenes as realtors, as lenders, as maybe not so much title, but all of us behind the scenes, I think we're getting a lot more information from the California Association of Realtors or from our local boards, and we can take that information and share it with our clients. A lot of investor buyers who have tenants that can't pay, and they're like, and so guiding them on, hey, don't reduce the rent, because in San Francisco that will reset your rental rate. Give them, you know, just kind of walking them through how to do this, and then reaching out to your lender to help get through this. And then, but then also explaining the difference between when they do reach out to the lender, making sure that they get the missed payments tacked on to the end, as opposed to making it all come due in 4 months when that 3 months is due, because that will send us down the road of foreclosure again, massively, if things are processed that way, because people aren't going to magically have 4 months of mortgage payments in 4 months. The day this is done, it has to be tacked on to the end, right? And I've been talking with a lot of people, and different lenders seem to be addressing this differently. And I'm like, well, you better make sure that you are very specific with your lender when you're talking with them about the forbearance, that it gets tacked on, not because I've heard some stories already. So just trying to be that voice there for my clients. I think they really appreciate it. And in terms of my online marketing, I love you guys. Thank you guys. You take my ideas. I don't give you nearly enough of them, but I do appreciate that you haven't canned it. It's not like we're still going full force, like, hey, da da da. You've definitely made it so that it shows that I'm aware of what's going on in the world, not just some, canned stuff. So I definitely appreciate that. And people recognize that, I think a lot of agents even have said to me, well, who are your people? And I'm like, oh, do I give them to you? Because I don't want you to look like me. but I have in the end, because we all have different spheres of influence, right? We all have different.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of agents are going to be out of business at the end of this, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those of us that remain in the business and know how to do this. I was here through the 2008 recession. I did all the distressed properties. I actually 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago went back to those distressed companies, and I've been doing little things for them, but I was like, oh, let me go back to doing more for the lenders and the banks on the back end. And I was 3 weeks ago given an essential letters work so that I can go out and help move the mortgage industry along. So I'm doing evaluations, I'm doing the reverse mortgage, I'm doing the occupancy checks. This afternoon, I'm doing a draw check to make sure, for the construction loan to be able to move on. So I'm going to check the status of the construction. And obviously I show up with everything. It's only me. I still have Lysol wipes. Thank God. I've been cutting them up into little pieces, but I still have them. And a bottle of bleach and paper towels in my car is kind of how I do it. But I find I've always done that to kind of keep my finger on the market in terms of what's going on with the lenders and the mortgages. I notice a lot of there's always these periods, and I've noticed my lenders are all saying, oh, there's so many more refinances. Well, yes, there are. The rates went great, and then they went back up. I even saw this 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago and was like, rates, refi. So I'm also myself in the middle of a refinance, right? Things are taking longer. I think I just remind everybody, look, let's be nice to each other. Let's just realize nothing's going to happen immediately. And we're all trying to support each other in whatever way we can. And just be a voice of reason and peace for people. I even had a phone call from Zillow. Zillow, we all love Zillow, right? And they all do their marketing, their phone calls and all of that. So I just had a phone call the other day, and I think I ended up in a 35-minute conversation with the Zillow girl about her kids and how she's handling this in Texas and versus San Francisco. And at the end, I was like, yeah, you're not going to sell anything to me. She's like, no, but thank you for the conversation. So I think and I felt good too afterwards. I was like, oh, I needed a conversation with a human, not a 5-year-old. So I think people really appreciate the phone calls. So I would, if you have not, as agents, been reaching out, just reach out to your clients, not on a salesy way. I think everybody in this panel has said that. Just be a human and just check in with people, see how they're doing, and then offer any guidance that you can. If you know that they were previously a tenant that was thinking about buying, have that honest conversation with them. The down payment seems to be the big issue for a lot of people now because so many people have lost the stock market. I know with the one I just ratified, she was at 25% down before all this happened. Then we were like, oh, maybe we should think about doing a seller carry. Oh, maybe we should think about doing an FHA loan. Maybe because the numbers, and then you'll just be able to recast or pay down your loan down the road once the stock market comes back and we can pull the money out. Then that was an option. And then the stock market kind of came back a little bit enough. And then they made that new law with being able to pull out $100,000 tax free, which is huge. And so now we're back to 20%. Without having, because FHAs are expensive and the cost is a little bit more in the PMI. So it's sometimes, but that was all part of the negotiation, right? Well, hey, seller, you have to be realistic in terms of pricing. No, we're not going to offer you your full asking price. Sorry, it's not going to happen, right? But because this is the down payment, this is what they can afford, and there are things going on now. Am I going to cry to the sellers, hey, 25% price reductions is what's going to happen? No, I don't see our market shifting. 10%. I don't even see the signs of it going to 10%. I think that we are going to have a lot of pent up demand after this. I know I was working on 3 listings before this happened, and we were at the paint and floor stage. Now we can't get any floors installed, and the painters. And I'm like, well, just keep packing, and just sit tight. And they're worried about what are we going to, how are we going to market? And I'm like, well, we've, behind the scenes, us realtors, we know we're working on the virtual. A lot of things have gone virtual. A lot of us have been doing virtual training for years anyway. Not years, but for quite a lot of us have been doing the virtual thing for a while. So much. I've been doing DocuSign and signing contracts actually for a couple years already anyway. And I think we've gotten, for the most part, past the requirement of lenders for that wet signature until the very, very end, you know, in terms of that. We know we don't get pushbacks on purchase contracts for that anymore. It's just that final notary. And title companies are definitely getting very creative without how they're doing it. I think some counties with the recorder's office was the difficult thing. I had heard the Santa Clara County had completely shut down, like they weren't even at all. And I was like, well, thank God I don't sell there. But if I did, or I had a buyer coming from that direction, you know, it definitely could impact and put fear into people. But I have faith in all of us as humans and all of us as companies. At the end of the day, every loan officer that we're talking to, everybody, an underwriter, they're all humans dealing with the same situation. Everybody is, right? We're all in this together. So it's not like we can even like get on a plane and go to New York or Alabama and it won't be that way. It's not. So I think everybody understands. I think that there is going to be pent up demand, at least in my market. And I do the Bay Area. I think we have a lot of people coming and going. Yes, I do think we're going to lose some people and people will get scared or they won't have the down payment. But at the same time, as long as we don't dump all of the properties on the market at the exact same moment, when we come back, it'll be okay. And I've been doing some videos and I've been kind of tracking what's going on in terms of our properties still coming on the market. Yes, they are. Are properties still getting into contract? Yes, they are. Are they still selling? Yes, they are. Every single day we can see the market coming and going. So I'm trying to share that with people. And then in San Francisco, there was one genius agent actually, and he went around to kind of a bunch of us top agents and he sent us all an email and he created a Google Drive and said, hey, if you have any buyers that are still in the market, give me the basics of their information, what they're looking for, the neighborhood, the property type, and I'm going to add it to this list with your name, your contact information, and we're going to share this list amongst real estate agents. So I think we're up to about 200 or 200 and something buyers on that list, and of all, you know, a bunch of agents in the city have come in. You can only get the list if you have buyers. But with that, I was able to look at it and go to my sellers who were starting to freak out because they were like, well, there's not going to be any buyers. And no. I was like, well, actually, I have this list of 180 people. And right here in this portion, there's about 15 buyers that are right in that price range and right in the neighborhood that you want. And they're looking and they're going to want to buy. And when you're ready, we will be able to do it. Like, yes, let's wait a couple weeks. Yes, let's finish our painting. Yes, let's put floors in. But there are people there. And they're not going to necessarily be underbidding. I think the other thing I'm talking about with my sellers is transparent pricing, which East Bay, Leslie, you guys have always, I think, had transparent pricing more so. You guys have been coining that term much more than we have. Here we've always, you know, we do San Francisco, it's been pretty typical. We underprice, we generate these big open houses, and we get these massive overbids. I'm talking $500,000 overbids, not just like $10,000, $20,000. Yeah, it's San Francisco. We're special. But transparent pricing, I think, is definitely going to be a little bit more the way to go. I feel like I've benefited from working the different Bay Area markets, and I have learned a lot from the East Bay agents on how they negotiate over the years and how they do things. And I think one listing I just had the tenant gave notice, so I'm like, well, we're going to raise the price to the price that we actually want, not what we had it before when we were on the market. We're going to just, and I've had 3 calls, and I haven't put it back on the market. I just adjusted the price on the off-market portion of it, and I've already had 3 calls from agents on it. Wow. Saying, hey, is that real pricing? I'm like, yeah, that's real pricing. Are you ready to make an offer? I have a Matterport. Do you want to look at the Matterport? And so it's, you know, I don't know if that'll go anywhere, but it's I think as agents, we just really need to be aware of our pricing, because we're not going to be inviting the neighbors for coffee and donuts the night before the house goes on the market anymore, right? We're not going to be doing, you know, at least for a while. I love open houses. I do pick up a lot of clients from open houses as well. So that portion of my business is going to, I think, take a hit for sure. But then I'll push more onto my past clients and sphere and my online social media and cracking jokes on my personal Facebook page. Because apparently cracking jokes on your personal Facebook page is, I made them all public too, so that everybody can steal them. But apparently it works if you mix in a little bit of real estate in there as well, because people laugh and then they keep coming back to look at what the latest joke is, and then they see this mix of market potential. Hey, you know what, I'm out doing valuations. You guys should, your home, clean up the front of your house, because I'm going to judge your house on a drive-by valuation, and appraisers are judging your house on a drive-by valuation very much so right now. I think some lenders are going one way and others, but I've heard like Wells Fargo is only doing drive-by valuations, and I think some other lenders, Maureen would probably know more than that, but which, you know, when I do drive-bys, I'm looking at your windows. Have you replaced them? I'm looking, do you have the exterior of your house painted? Do you have garbage and junk all over the outside of your house, or is it nice and maintained? Does it, you know, that's going to a certain degree give me an indication of what the inside of the house is. And then I can look online through MLS pictures to see if it's a original kitchen or a remodeled kitchen or whatnot. Or I can look on public records if they pull permits on the house to do any extensions and things like that. So the importance, I think, of doing work in the past that you've done permitted and legally is definitely going to come into play now, because it'll be so much more important. Whereas in San Francisco, we have a lot of bonus space, I'll say, and bonus space, which shows up as storage on an appraisal, could be a 2-bedroom in-law unit. So it's when you do things with permit, it definitely will, in times like this, make a difference in terms of your value. So I think, that's kind of what I'm doing, trying to keep a positive attitude. Definitely more Zoom calls than I could have ever imagined in my life. I'm like, what? I can't handle it. And I have to like, okay, fine, that's right. I get dressed every day. I'm not hanging out in the backyard. But it's keeping the mindset. My coach is, the meds, what is it? Meditation, education, something and something. I can't think of it right now. But it's being aware of yourself every day, getting up and saying to yourself, hey, you know what? Today is going to be a good day, and this is what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to succeed. Even if it's washing the dishes and playing Candyland with your kid and giving yourself an extra hour of email time because you got them engaged in something, right? I have been posting a lot of things to do with kids for my clients, because a lot of my clients do have the young kids and are working at home. So I have been trying to do a lot of, hey, here's a chalk thing. Hey, here's an arts and craft thing. Hey, here, make these cupcakes or do this and that, because it gives all of us, a little bit of time. And it's amazing how much you can get done on your phone via email or text when your child is engaged coloring or painting. So it definitely makes a difference. There we go. Leslie. Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah, there's a cookie question from Maureen.
Let me see there are some questions I see in the chat. Maureen, who do you use? I used Harry and David. They had some super, super cute things. It was only like $30 or $35 for just this really adorable little thing. And they're efficient and fast, and I wasn't sure if they were going to get out in time for Easter, but they did. And I ordered one for my own son just to see what it looked like, just to know. And then I paid the extra to have the actual note card. Instead of just sitting that out, you can pay like an extra $4 or something for a note card. And then I made a very personal and thoughtful note within that, as if it was sometimes we do the handwritten notes to clients, but it was very specific to them, realizing kind of their jobs, their kids, using their kids' names, making it a thoughtful thing. So just because we're all kind of pulling back, and it seems like when I look on the news or I look on social media, everyone's like hunkered down. You go out in the store, nobody even wants to smile at you. And I'm like, just smile. Like we won't get sick if we smile at each other, people. Come on. So just that kind of a little surprise. Everybody likes surprises, right? So, and Harry and David's very good at those. I search around for different ones, but reliability is important to me, and it's a company that I always found is reliable. And some of these smaller Etsy type companies, you're like, and I want it to know that it's commercial grade, and I'm not sending COVID to somebody's house. You know, you don't want to do that. So, yeah, no, you don't want to do that. So I think let me look at these.
I think that was pretty much all the questions. I think we have some questions coming in for our leasing agent, and then Shelly said something as well about taxes. So it looks like we don't have, Bobbie is not here. So we're doing pretty good on time. And so we have him until about 1 o'clock. So if any other questions for Heather, you can go ahead and put them in there. And I just want to really say, Heather, I really appreciate like your candidness and how you're proactive and how you're not like, oh my God, like this is happening, poor me, and just not really serving your clients or being proactive or reaching out, and that was the whole reason that stemmed this event and why hence I wanted you to be a part of this panelist, because you're someone that definitely is just personable, and the way that you take this approach and you're proactive and you do things on forefronts with the cookies and some of the other things that you're talking about as far as how does the front of the house look, and just doing things that like, hey, okay, fine, open houses aren't going to be as good, but I can go and reach out to my past clients. I can go do the jokes. I can do other things to be proactive in a time of, yeah, let's not smile at each other. Let's just lock down our house and poor us. No, like let's keep moving forward. And I think there need to be more people like you that really help us moving forward. So I just want to say thank you so much for what you're doing, because you're adding a lot of value. So thank you.
Thanks. I get frustrated. Trust me, I get frustrated, but I try.
Hence, when I called her and she was just like, she vented to me. I was like,
I did.
Like 15 minutes. I was like, just like being a counselor here for a second. She was just like, thanks for letting me vent. And yeah,
I was having a 5-year-old moment when he called. It was like all the men get to work and the women have to take care of the kids. This is not fair.
So I want to go back to a couple questions here. Ina, are you still with us? Let's go back here. We had a question from Rachel. Do you see that in the chat there? I just want to make sure we get this answered.
Yes, I do. Well, rentals are still, so the question is, my tenants just moved out of the single family home unexpectedly. When do you predict rentals will be active again? What realistic time frame do you see as being able to get properties rented back out? Well, the market is slow, but it's active. So depending on the kind of property you have, some of the more premier properties definitely get a lot more interest right now. For example, I have a property on which I'm touring this afternoon. It's has a gorgeous bay views in Pacific Heights, or the property on the Crooked Street, on the Lombard Street, that's getting attention. I think ultimately once the shelter in place, people want to observe the shelter in place, and once that's lifted, a lot of people will be moving, and I think, depending on where the property is, people will look for the single family home, because single family homes are going to be very popular because of the yard, because of the locations, because many single family homes are, Richmond, Sunset, where it's proximity to the park, to the playground. So a lot of people who are living in high rises with children, they're done being there. So I am sure that you can get actually even more than you have been renting it for in the past.
Awesome. Fantastic. And then just want to switch over to Shelly, and then switch over after Shelly. We could switch over to Maureen. Shelly, I think you want to touch on really quick about taxes.
Yeah, just an FYI, today is the day, the deadline for property taxes and for second installment. And there has been a concession made for people that are in hardships caused by the coronavirus and subsequent shelter in place, that they will help you with the penalty. It's individual basis, but if someone is going to be late with their taxes, the penalty can be waived, but they just need to reach out to their tax assessor's, tax collector's office. The counties that are covered under this: Alameda, Contra, Monterey, San Mateo, San Francisco, and Santa Clara, so Greater Bay Area, have made it have all the information on their website.
Awesome. Fantastic.
And a great reason to reach out to your customers to make sure that they don't forget in all this hoopla that they have property taxes due, and if they can't make that payment, you might be able to help them out with a connection there.
Okay. It looks like Ashley said that she thought property deadlines was extended to May 4th. So I don't
Different
know.
counties, different
Yeah,
cities.
different.
San Francisco is different than everybody else in the world. We're just San Francisco.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So Maureen, if you want to touch base really quick, I know you want to touch base on something that that Heather had said. I believe.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up with Heather. Thank you so much for bringing up forbearance. I wasn't sure how much time I had earlier. That was definitely on my list of things. I did a video last week because I've seen a lot of misinformation out there, both on the news and then friends telling friends, oh, you should just take the free money and do a forbearance. There's no such thing as free money. Forbearance is not that. As Heather was saying, if you let that, if you suspend your payment for 4 months or 5 months after your forbearance is over, depending on what your servicer's rules are, because every servicer has a different rule, you could owe 5 months of payments all at one time. Where all of a sudden are we getting 5 months of payments, depending on what your payment is, whether it's $2,000 or $5,000? Boy, that's a lot of money to owe. And then along those same lines, if they extend it and say, okay, well, you can repay that over a year. Well, if your payment's $2,000 a month, and then now you've got, 5 months, so $10,000, that's $833 added to your monthly payment. So if your payment is $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, that's going to be a lot of money added on there. So I'm just if you see anybody out there telling somebody it's free money, take it, please correct them. If you hear of anybody talking about forbearance, please have them reach out to their servicers before they do anything. On the video that I did, I listed 6 questions that they should ask their servicer before they do anything, because they really need to make sure that this is the right thing for them and for their family, and it might be. Unfortunately, with this situation and people losing their jobs, being laid off, being furloughed, many people are going to have to take this route because they have no other choice. But for those of us that can make that payment, we absolutely don't want to do a forbearance. It's not free money. So thank you for letting me rant about that a little bit. I'm really worried about people getting the wrong information out there. So
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries at all. No worries at all. So we have one other question for Ina, it looks like. I just want to
add to that?
She
Can I
knows
just add to that real quick?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
As agents, because I know everybody on this thing is agents or lenders or different people in the industry, I think it's incredibly important when you are putting out information that is helpful that you make sure it's the right information, because we don't want to end up sending people into foreclosure or bringing us back to 2008. Different loans, different time. It probably won't happen that way, but it's really important to, I find links of reputable lenders and share those things, share that information. And if you tell a client, hey, this is an idea of something you can do, let me send you a link on more information, then contact your servicer. So they're not just out there Googling, because there's a lot of Googling that could go in the wrong direction. So just make sure you're being a voice of pure truth and honesty to people at all times. That's all. That's it.
Fantastic. So if you have one question, do you want to, it's for Ina, it's more geared towards marketing. We are going to shift into marketing and how you can be proactive in these times. So Ina, can you see that there in the chat? I went ahead and put that there for you so you can answer that question about your marketing. Do you see that there?
Yes, I do. So the
Okay.
question is, how is your marketing different and how do you stand out? So usually what it takes to rent a property in San Francisco is put it on Zillow and Craigslist. That's about literally everything you need. However, every agent does that, and for me, it's important to go above and beyond that and cast a much wider net. So I post on 72 different rental websites. So literally everything from apartments.com to Live Lovely and every other bottom feeder, they all have my properties listed. They're useless, but they're still there. I also have a proprietary list of relocation consultants that work for large relocation companies that ultimately work with Googles and Facebooks of the world, relocating their employees, and they market to them directly. So when they are searching for a property for the transferees, it shows up, it pops up in their inbox on a daily basis. And then a lot of marketing happens on Facebook and Instagram, and believe it or not, it's getting attention. It has been really tough to get any kind of leads from social media, but I think with time and people getting used to buying things in social media and doing all these online marathons in social media and all kinds of things, it's just as, if you can't find your husband online, you can find your rental online or your home online, right? So why not? So that's so I cast a super wide net when it comes to that. And then obviously I market. I have lists of top producers all over the country where I send them some of my super high-end listings, so they know if they have clients moving to San Francisco, and this is something that that there are properties like that available. And I think part of the question is, are you doing virtual tours through FaceTime? So I am not doing that. I am making videos of the property and I post them online, and then I just share a link to potential to interested party. And if they are really interested, and if they are willing to start the lease ASAP, like May 1st, for example, and not wait until July or whenever, then I do to wear hazmat. I mean, seriously, I have a mask and gloves, and I already said that, and I require they wear mask and gloves, and we stay 6 feet apart. I open the door, I let them in, and then I follow them afterwards. And you have to see the property, you have to touch it. You can't, if you buy a property, you can put it in a contract and then wait until you tour it. But for rentals, it doesn't work that way. So it's first come, first served, right? So you got to do what you got to do, and as long as you're safe about it and use every precaution possible, then I think we're good. And people who are actually touring right now and making decisions to rent right now, they are actually going to get a better deal, because some landlords are scared and therefore negotiable. I try to tell my landlords, like, let's not negotiate. Let's stay firm, because once this is over, the demand's going to be high, and you're going to end up renting something for a lot less than it's worth, which is opposite of what a lot of tenants think. But that's my firm belief, and I can't wait to find out if I'm right.
Awesome. And it looks like Leslie was asking short-term. Are you doing short-term rentals?
God, no, absolutely not. And all the top leasing agents, they avoid it, because the thing is that with short-term rentals, the amount of work is exactly the same for a 1-month rental, a 6 months rental, or 12 months rental. But the fee is a percentage of the term, right? So I could be doing the same amount of work, and how exactly am I going to charge them for a 1-month fee, right? It's just not worth my time. So no, and sure, sometimes I take high-end properties which could be rented short-term furnished, or unfurnished long-term, or flexible. But generally, we try to require a minimum of 1 year. And if they want furniture, great. But if they want, we can move it out. But if it's somebody who wants only short-term rentals, that's just not my business.
Got it. Okay, and it looks like one of the questions came in as far as property videos. Are you doing them yourself or a vendor? Are you using a vendor to help you filming your property videos? I think people are sniping you on Instagram now.
Yeah, so if you look at my Instagram, my YouTube channel, I have several very highly professional videos. They're very Vogue style, question answer type of video where I'm walking through the property, and this is a great way to kind of teach, tell people who you are and then talk about your property. So those are professional videos, and I use Spinach Video for them. These guys are they're extremely creative, amazing, very flexible. So those are the people that I use. And for, I have someone who saw me at a conference a few months ago, and he was just about to start in real estate, was studying for his exam, and he asked me if he could be an unpaid intern and work for me. So even though he's a Compass agent right now, he still kind of does me a favor and follows me around and shows my videos. And again, if you go to my Instagram and in the highlights, for example, click on the Cricket Street, that's him walking around. And I usually like to wear nice shoes and something nice, so we can kind of like tag Christian Louboutin in a video, and Louis Vuitton, whatever, and just to create a little bit more exciting rather than plain sort of touring around. So when I have no help, then I do it myself and just show the property. But it's about marketing the property, but it's also about marketing me, right? And how I am going to market the property, right? So my clients see that I'm walking around and I'm talking about their property and I'm selling it. and you know, people are interested in seeing that, then they obviously realize that it's it's taking it up, taking marketing a notch higher than, you know, everyone else.
Yeah, definitely. When you tag those individuals, I'm sure those individuals that are purchasing Louis Vuitton and what have you are going to be your ideal clientele that can afford it.
Whatever. I'm hoping Louis Vuitton reaches out and says, "Hey, can you be our ambassador?" That's not going to happen, but you know, why not? I mean, I think it's all about putting yourself out there as much as you possibly can, and casting again the widest net, because if somebody who is following that and they live in San Francisco and they want a bigger place, what are the, it could happen, the chances that a 50-50 will happen, or if it's not going to happen. So why not? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I love that. Fantastic. So awesome. And it looks like Heather did say vacation rentals are completely stopped in the area, and she has a property in Oregon, and they completely have been shut down. So it looks like, okay, we do have Bobbie. Bobbie came in now. Smith's kind of behind the scenes. He's our tech guy. And it looks like he got a hold of her, and now she is here. So awesome. We just want to be respectful for time too, because we do have until about 1:30 is when we're supposed to end the show here, and then I do want to talk a little bit about marketing as well. So everyone, we have Bobbie Decker here with us. Bobbie, welcome. Want to make sure. So for you, just go ahead and turn your audio on, bottom left. Do you see that? Just want to make sure you hear you. All right. There we go. Well, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get into it then for Bobbie. So Bobbie, would love to hear how are you navigating from your marketing to transactions. I know you do a lot of courses, a lot of training online. You just had a big event, I believe, or scheduling a big event right now with RE/MAX, the Western region. So welcome.
Thank you. And it hasn't been easy on anyone. It has been very difficult, and I apologize left, right, and center, but Zoom decided to act up. I decided to go and actually upgrade, and then lo and behold, it decided it wasn't going to work. So it's great to be here with all the other panelists.
No worries. Thank you for being here.
And so what I would like, actually, I've been doing a lot of reading and a lot of trying to get where the market will be going as we move forward. It's going to be really different, Norman, and I'm sure the other guests have mentioned this. It's going to be the new norm, so to speak, but with a lot of the old values. And that is, people are not going to be able to fly by the seat of their pants just saying, I'm number one, I'm this, I'm that. People want a caring, educated realtor. And in the same vein, lender, title person, it's that caring aspect and knowing that you're trying to set yourself apart. You and I have talked a lot about the educational component.
Yeah.
And there are a number of agents, there are like about 1.3 million in the entire that belong to NAR. And then you add that is going to be, how do you differentiate yourself? How do you set yourself apart? And I think they're going to be looking to see who is educated. And I did read on the last magazine that came out, was a tremendous magazine. First of all, it went over the last 100 years of having what we know as an MLS service, why it was actually thought of and put into effect. They also asked 16 leaders, from the disruptors to the new companies that are being backed by venture capitalists, and they asked them, what is going on? Where do you see us moving forward? And they all said education. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
And knowing how to bring value add to your client. A lot of agents are just looking for the numbers, and that's fine, but they said there are going to be fewer agents. They're going to be more highly skilled and more educated. They will have tried to set themselves apart by being an expert, so quote unquote, in a certain perhaps niche, rather than trying to throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall. I use that as an analogy a lot, and hoping that some of that sticks. They're going to say, well, I am very, very well versed in the senior market, and we know that there are somewhere around 20,000 or 10,000 10,000 people turning 65 every day for the next 17 years, 15 to 17 years. That's an enormous listing pool, Norman.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? And they're going to change. Boomers are not going to just age in place. They're either going to upgrade, downgrade, right size, left size, whatever they call it, go closer to their kids, try and get away from their kids. But they are going to be in motion. So having something like an SRES designation, which is Seniors Real Estate Specialist, and that designation is actually honored by AARP. So, I mean, will you do that? Or will you be with the millennials and be strictly a buyer's agent? Will you go and try and be a niche expert in, say, ranch properties or waterfront properties? But rather than being very broad brushed, they see it as becoming much more focused.
So true. It's so true. It's actually funny that you came in, because we're going to segue into talking specifically about what does your ideal client look like? What is your ideal area that you serve? And what type of information are you putting out there that's going to connect with that educated buyer? And I'm going through that process right now. And, you know, I'm a tough sell. I'm a tough person to work with. And my wife and I are going to be selling our house and moving to Arizona. And, you know, sorry, I'm not just working with anyone. I'm just not, I'm too educated for that. So, and I want someone that I feel can add value to me and my family, so then I can be educated instead of, I don't want to educate.
You know, I think, Norman, that don't be afraid, and I say that in all the classes, don't be afraid of a little AI or a little robot coming in and taking over, because people still need that empathetic.
Yeah.
You know, your empathy, that you understand what they're going through, and you can sit there and you can counsel them. So more of a counselor, advisor than a hard, fast salesperson. And I think being sheltered in place and looking at this pandemic and looking how this virus absolutely takes no prisoners, I think people are starting to say, you know, maybe I was going too fast, too hard, and not looking around and appreciating everything and finding an understanding with other people. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. So give some context really quick. So you specialize in doing courses and you help individuals get these various different certifications, correct? Can you add a little light to that? Agents, absolutely. But I'm also, you know, I was in the top percentile last year for 2019. We only don't know what 2020 is going to look like, but I'm a very, very active broker as well with my company, and like I said, they have a lot of business, but I've been in this business for so long that I'm looking at it now. And I think you and I talked about that Jack Welch quote, where once you've become a leader, it is now your place, and your success is in building and helping others move forward. And that's kind of where I am now, you know. Awesome. On both sides of the game. I can see myself going more towards the mentoring, the tutoring, the teaching, again, because I've been in the business a long time, and I hope that some of my experience helps others.
That's awesome. That's great. That's awesome. So if anyone has any questions, we'd love to be able to fire some questions away for Bobbie, and then anything that you would like to leave for the viewer. So, you know, maybe, you know, something to help them kind of keep moving forward.
Be resilient, educate yourself, become knowledgeable. I have been in rooms where I've said, how many of you have read the listing agreement? And some hands don't go up. I mean, how can you be asking a seller to sign an agreement or a buyer to sign an agreement that you haven't read? But again, it's flying by the seat of your pants. Don't do that. Become educated and expert at your real estate career, and it will be successful.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Well, thank you so much. And we appreciate you coming. We're like, where's she at? So we're like, all right, you know, we have to, you know, basically have to navigate this. And then I was texting Smith, our tech guy behind the scenes, like, and he's like,
thank you very much for being so on it, because that was a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, trying to be, I mean, we got Facebook Live, I got you live here on Instagram, and then we're recording, and I didn't want to go through, I can't toggle recording right now, and we got people here, so I'm like, thanks, Smith. So awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and shift our gears. I want to talk about like some technology, some things that you potentially could buy and you could use and how you can be proactive. And more specifically, I mean, Bobbie, perfect segue. How can we really focus on our ideal client area that we serve so we can be that expert? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let's go ahead and share this one. And so first and foremost, this is exactly what Ina was talking about as far as Google Places. So you can look up Google My Business, which is this here. It's free, and you literally can just register your address. I would register your business address, not your personal address. And yeah, you can get reviews on various different platforms, but this here is going to help you have a higher Google ranking. So if you can get reviews from Google My Business, and what it looks like after you have it set up to kind of give you some context. So it'll look something like this. And so it'll look something like this. Let's go ahead and show you like David Azimi. So this is what it's going to look like. So this is going to be Google My Business. So you'll have your ratings. There's 12 Google ratings here. You could view his website, directions of where he's located, and his phone number. So this is definitely something that you could download and you could use for your business. So that's one thing that I wanted to put out there. Another thing I want to put out there as well is a couple of things. So Facebook Pixel, this is something that if you're running Facebook ads or Instagram ads, the Facebook Pixel is a way that you can then retarget. So if you've ever gone shopping online and looked something up, and then you see an ad pop back up for, we'll say for those Louis Vuitton shoes. I don't even know if Louis Vuitton makes shoes, but I know Ina was talking about that. You literally can retarget those folks if maybe they went to your website. The Facebook Pixel would be something that goes into your website, and you can retarget those folks that went to that location. So I would check out Facebook Pixel. I would check out the Google Places or Google My Business. You can go ahead and look that up. Another thing you can look at for technology-wise is going to be the Osmo Pocket. The Osmo Pocket is a handheld pocket device, which I don't have mine with me right now. And it gives you the ability, so if you want to do more virtual tours and you want to do it on a budget, you can see here the pricing. And it literally is a handheld device where you can record up to 4K. And it has everything from stabilization. It's called a gimbal. So it has a stabilization feature on it. It has a little camera. It has a little picture on it. You can actually plug it into your phone, and it's something you could use to be able to do virtual tours. So maybe if you're looking for some technology to help your business, you want to do virtual tours, that could be something you potentially could use. But of course, you can always stick with your phone. So that's something that's really cool too. Another thing is the ring light. So if anyone wants to do videos, which I think we're all doing videos now, I have my ring light right here. And definitely a ring light is something that you could use to be able to look a little more clear, and lighting is key. So it doesn't look like you are too dark, or it starts looking grainy. You want to have good lighting. So it shows you here some of the pricing and some of the lights that you can get. So that was also something I would recommend. If you're looking to get into doing video, or you want to say use that Osmo Pocket and you want to get some shots of a home that you have and you want to cut it down, Filmora 9 is what I would recommend. You could download it for free, and literally it's $150 for the whole year. It's super simple, drag, drop, very easy. The transitions, everything that you could do with this, it's amazing. So, if you want to try to think about, hey, I want to get into doing some filming, Osmo Pocket, virtual tour, go into Filmora, and you can go ahead and edit that, and then a ring light for your smartphone, which is great. And so those are some things I would look at if you're looking for devices and technology to use to help your business in these times. And then from there, if you're thinking about maybe, and we'll talk about this today, a landing page that's focused around maybe a first-time home buyer, or a landing page that's focused around, say, someone that's looking to downsize, maybe an empty nester, to quantify a couple of different types of or reasonings why someone would want to buy or sell. You could use Instapage to create your own landing page, and we'll talk more about what that looks like here getting into our presentation. So what we really want to put emphasis on as far as this segment is, what could you do to be proactive in these times to really focus on your ideal client area that you serve. That's what we specialize in. So if we can give some free information for you to leverage and for you to use for your own business. We had a client that just signed up 2 days ago, and she's like, we have coaches that refer us clients, and she's like, yeah, I was diving into WordPress and trying to build my own website, and I was just like, nope, not doing that. And so now we're going to be helping her out. But these are things that you potentially all could do yourself as well, things that we're going to be going over. We always like to start off with a mission statement. So not sure about your business. And I think this ties into more of like being a specialist and not just taking spaghetti, like Bobbie was saying, and throwing at the wall and see what sticks. Really focus and niche down on, what's your ideal client? Who are you serving? Why are you serving them? For us, we really want to supersede the real estate marketing standard by positioning and innovating our family of clients and inspiring them. Hence, one thing we want to do here is inspire anyone that's here to really help them build their business. And you need a foundation, a consistent roadmap to have growth and to be able to have more success. And you also want to be able to, for us, we always want to help our clients always be able to have more success with whatever they're doing. So this is our mission statement. A team is always important. So kind of give you some context. That's my wife and my daughter. My daughter's now 1.5. We got married last year, April 6th. And this is Smith, who was reaching out to Bobbie to get her set up and was behind the scenes, customer success manager, Annie, content writer, Danny, our VP of sales, Mr. Dan Gandy. We have our Facebook expert, Austin, and then behind the scenes, we do some various things to be able to then, outsource some of the work. But having a team is great. And all of you have, agents at your brokerage, or you have your team leads to help you out, or maybe you have mortgage professional, or maybe you have your title rep helping you out, things like that. And thank you. Oh, really? Married last year on the same date? That's awesome. So April 6th, we got married in Pittsburgh, California, over at the Pittsburgh Marina. So we're very blessed. My wife's father lives there and has some friends that has some boats. So we got married on a yacht, which was amazing. But I never thought I'd be married on a yacht. So we have 5 questions for you. So we want to find out, first, and usually I do this live, so we have people raising their hands and whatnot, but you're more than welcome in the chat to go ahead and just say yes, or no. Who here wants to work harder, not smarter? Also, who here is looking to make more money? I think all of us want to make more money. Who wants to become a millionaire? I always joke around and say, I want to be a billionaire. And who wants to automate their marketing? And then who's ready to learn something new? I think everyone wants to really learn something new. And we have some thank yous. Smith, Norman, awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. So the first thing we really want to identify is where are you at now and what do you need to work on? So we're going to have a quick little exercise. It's called the exposure grade, and the exposure grade is going to identify where are you as far as your branding, your networking, your marketing. These are the times to really deep dive into your business and really come to terms of what do you need to work on and what do you need to do to really have more success in your business after, especially when things start to clear up. Another thing is who, why, and how. So when you think about your ideal client, who are you working with? Why? Are they looking to buy or sell? And how do you reach out to them? How do you market to them? So who could be a buyer or seller? The why could be a buyer that's looking to downsize or relocate. And then how do you market to them? We're going to talk about that here in the presentation. Okay. And then from there, your marketing strategy, what does that look like? And what makes up a marketing strategy? I usually ask individuals, and you're more welcome to put it in the chat or put it in the Q&A, what makes up a marketing strategy. It's not a trick question. You technically just read the slide here. And so your marketing strategy would be say maybe sending out cookies like Heather was talking about earlier to her clients. It could be making a phone call and reaching out to the clients and talking to them. Anything that you could do to strategize, to be able to be different, to get yourself out there, to be proactive. Your website, your social media, we have Leasing Agent 415 does a lot with social media, building up traffic, optimizing that traffic. You really want to think about what makes up a strategy that can help you really become more successful at the end of the day with your business. So now is the fun part. We want to go ahead and take action. So everyone's on their computers right now. If you want to pull out your smartphone, this is going to be the exposure grade. So this is going to be something we put together at Liftoff over the past 7 years to be what can we do? And we give this out to mortgage professionals, title reps use this. And it's okay, how could you add value really quick? Well, this is how you really find out. We could add value to you to find out your exposure grade. So anyone that has computer access right now, or just grab your phone, just go www.exposuregrade.com. And what I'm looking for is a number, and we're going to give you a live grade right now. We want to find out from, are you a trainee? Are you a guru? I think Ina's probably a guru, but we want to find out where you're at with your branding, where you're at with your marketing, where you're at overall. So, so the first person can go ahead and leave that here. That would be great. And also, we're going to do something at the end of this as well to give back to everyone that's staying with us today, and just want to do what we can to be able to help. So at the end of this presentation, we're going to be giving something back. So anyone can get that, exposuregrade.com, and give us a number. That would be great. I'm going to go ahead and move on and show you what it consists of. So you're more than welcome to just fill it out and then just comment with what your grade is. And I want to make this interactive. And so this is what the exposure grade consists of. So we want to find out, like, do you have your own brand? Or are you using a broker's brand? Is it on your flyers and print pieces? Social media, what are you using for social media? And maybe what do you want to really focus on? Is it like, hey, Instagram, because Instagram's hot now, you know, and things like that. Also, what are you doing with your website? You know, do you have a website? Do you have landing pages with call to actions? Things like that, single property websites. Do you send out mailers? I know right now Heather was talking about sending out mailers and being proactive right now. Networking, I don't think much people are doing much actual physical networking, but maybe you're doing Zoom meetings and networking like that, so you can get yourself out there. And then the grade looks like this. An A is a guru, and a D, not to give everyone bad grades or good grades, is going to be a trainee. So something, if you're a trainee, maybe you're trying to get on social media, or you want to have a nice website with good content to your ideal client or area that you serve, or maybe you're trying to build your own brand because you want to be different than your competitors and colleagues and people in your office. So those are little things to think about with that. So does anyone have a grade for me? I don't see anything coming up just yet, but just exposure.
I have a 65.
65. Okay. So what's one thing that you want to work on? No?
What is it that I don't do at this point? Well, I said no to door knocking. I said no to cold calling because in my business I don't need to do that.
There you go.
And I don't do separate property websites because everything is on my personal website.
Okay.
So yeah, apparently I'm a trainee.
Hey, there you go. Hey, but you've figured out a way to make your marketing work for you, right? So you've doubled down on, like, say, Instagram and some of those other activities.
Actually, can I make a comment about Instagram promotions?
Of course.
Do not pay for Instagram promotions. It's a huge mistake because once you do that, they know you have the money, so they are not showing your posts to as many people as you think. The way Instagram works, as a matter of fact, when you first post something, they show your post to about 10% of your followers. If you have only your post has an hour. If within that 1 hour you get a lot of likes, then they show it to more people. And then if you get more likes, it's a tiered system. So first of all, you need to know when to post. There's an app called When to Post that you can attach to your Instagram, and you know how to, and they will tell you when to post when people are active. So, but if you pay for promote properties, first of all, that does nothing. Most of the time they kill them because of that new law regarding targeting people and, you know, so on. And second of all, they're not going to be showing your post because they want you to pay to promote every single post. So you got to be really, really, really careful with that. And I know a lot about Instagram, and I have a lot of hacks to share, but this is a big one because people kind of get into the, you promote once and then you pretty much, killed your Instagram there. No one is seeing your post, basically, not even people who follow you.
So true. So true. And we'll talk more into some additional Instagram things as well. And if you want to share any of those apps, in the comments, that would be great. So if anyone wants to download, like, when to post, things like that, I think that would be awesome. So that way some individuals watching today can get some additional value there as well. So thank you so much for chiming in and participating and giving some feedback on Instagram. So let's talk about the who. So the who is, who's your focus? Is it buyer or is it going to be a seller? So some individuals first getting into the business work with buyers, they start building their business up and they start then working a little bit longer and they start getting more confidence and they work with sellers, and then you get to, like, maybe the luxury market. That's usually the way it works, but you can work with either or. It doesn't make too much of a difference. It just helps identify, who do you want to work with, and then when you get larger, you'll have, like, a team and you have, like, buyer specialists and things like that. So when you think about the buyer or seller, just in the comments, is this a buyer or seller? This first picture right here. Well, now we're talking about, like, why, what's the reason why someone want to buy or sell a home? So can anyone identify, is this a buyer or seller, and why? Okay, I see both. All right, perfect. So it could be both. more specifically, look at age demographic, look at the size of the house, look at the sign right there at the bottom left.
Sellers.
There you go, sellers, exactly. So this is empty nesters, someone that wants to sell, right? And so when you're thinking about posting or putting content out there, you know, this could be something that someone can identify with, like, oh my God, like, yeah, that's like our house, and, you know, we don't need this space anymore. Maybe we want to sell our house, things like that. So that kind of gives you some context. How about this one? Buyer or seller? The
Buyer.
There you go, buyer, exactly. So someone looking to buy, he's done. 5 dumbest things that landlords do. I'm over it. Don't care anymore. So these are some pictures that you can say identify with, whether you're a buyer or you're a seller, and just to kind of put it in perspective. If you're going to run ads, now video is more important than even pictures, or post pictures out there. This is going to give you some context. Now the how do you market to them? So social media, video, website, and then ads. So the Osmo Pocket was one recommendation as far as something you could use to be able to film yourself or film properties. We've been talking about Instagram. Twitter's not as big of a deal right now. I would say YouTube is huge. Definitely. YouTube is one of the big ones and big contenders, because YouTube is based off of search optimization. So depending on, and we'll talk about YouTube a little bit more here in a second, depending on your thumbnail and depending on the title, and if it's the address, and I know a lot of realtors go and do like listing properties, which is great if you're going to do a video walkthrough tour. One thing that they miss, and we'll talk about even more of this, is they're not asking to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I mean, a lot of individuals, I don't think on just YouTube in general, understand that YouTube can turn into a database. And if they hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, and you build up that subscriber base and you post consistently on YouTube, you literally will automatically reach out to that list of individuals from a YouTube perspective, because they're a part of that network and because they've subscribed and hit the notification bell. So pretty cool thing there. Your website, of course, we'll give you some examples of what are some websites that we have look like and how are we identifying that specific client type and giving some good information. And then ads. And then you could use the Facebook pixel like I talked about for the retargeting marketing activities, and then running ads more specifically for the buyer type or seller type to really be able to identify with that individual. So that's another thing to think about as well with that. So that's the how do you market to them. Now this is a cool list. So this kind of gives you the bigger picture. So who is your focus? Is it a buyer or a seller? Why are they looking to buy or sell? And it kind of shows you here, first time home buyer, are they looking to upgrade? And then when you think about how do you market to them, you're marketing to maybe a millennial who's a first time home buyer, or someone that's renting a home that is maybe going to be having a child and they want to own their own home, or they want more space. And if you look at number 1 and number 2, that's kind of the life cycle. So you have someone who's a first time home buyer that wants to upgrade their home. So, you know, we have our home here, case in point, we have, you know, one daughter and maybe want to have another child. And so now we want to upgrade. So yeah, we can upgrade here in California, but we're like, well, let's go into Arizona. We can get more, you know, bang for our buck. A $1.2 million home in Pleasanton can give us $375,000. It's $375,000 in Arizona. So we're talking a $1.2 million home, go to Arizona. They say 2 months of hell for 9 months of heaven, or I think it's something like that. So that's a list that you could use here to really think about, instead of, you know, like say Bobbie said, taking spaghetti and throwing it at the wall and see what sticks. Now could be a good time for you to niche down on who is the type of client you want to work with and what type of content could you be coming out with to add more value. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. And if it was, you can go ahead and just say yes in the comments. So moving forward, now we want to deep dive a little bit more into like, does your website matter? I mean, I know a lot of agents use their broker's website, which is good and it's free and it comes with your tech and desk fee. But if you have your own website and you have your own branding, and then you have, say, a landing page like for Fabulous Properties, if you see here, this actually gives them some blog articles and a call to action to download, say, for instance, maybe, you know, A through Z process of what it looks like to buy a luxury home, or whatever that case may be. And we'll give you some more examples, but your website and also landing page and social should be consistent with all of your marketing. And this is going to cover the social here. And what is one thing that you see as these are all coming up here that is what? And go ahead and just comment in the comment sections below. Let's go back. What do you see that's consistent through Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn? Everything is what? See if anyone comments really quick.
Logo?
Yeah, logo. There you go. Correct. Consistency, right? So, I mean, I don't know who here, and maybe this could be something you can do afterwards, has Google searched themselves. Just look up your name, find out what comes up, and then from there, really find out, like, is there a picture that's up that you don't want? Now's the time to do an audit of yourself, right? So go on to Google, search your name, first and last, your full name. If you don't pop up, type in realtor at the end of your name or real estate, and then you'll probably get some additional search results that really show yourself. And case in point, look up leasing agent 415. She says she's number one on Google. So look her up and see where she ranks and what she's doing, so you can get some ideas of what she's currently doing and help yourself right now in these times where, you can go to Canva. That's another tool I didn't put out there, but you can go to Canva. You want to create your own little logo or create your own little, say, social media artwork. You could do that there. Maybe it's a time to have your husband or your wife take a picture of you, new headshot. Put that out there as well. That could be a good idea. So little things that you could do being proactive, working from home to get yourself set up. So another thing is analytics. Who here, yes or no, really could just comment really quick, really tracks their analytics. Who's going to your website? What pages are they going on to? How long are they there for? So that can give you some context, because right now a big thing is that, people might not be answering the phones and you're not going to networking meetings. And for you to quantify your marketing activities, think about like, okay, well, how much easier it is for you to like go into you can look up Google Analytics. That's what this is. And this is how we pull this analytics. It's called Google Analytics. How easy would it be for you to go into Google Analytics and be like, all right, how many page views, how many visitors, what's going on with my site, what's happening there? Or how easy would it be to go into your social media and find out who's in your audience, who's engaging with your social media postings, what's happening and who's mentioning? Because now with social media, like what Heather was saying, when she goes and puts a funny comment on her personal page and there's people that comment or say things and they have children and they relate to that, that's a way for her to analyze like, okay, who's interacting, who's not interacting, who's commenting, who's not commenting, more so probably who is. And it can give you some context and maybe help your confidence level as well, because you see that, oh my God, my website numbers are going up, or, oh my God, I'm getting more followers. And, we don't want that to consume us, but we at least want to see, are we doing something as far as if we're putting a video out there? Is it getting additional viewership? Are we getting additional followers? Are we adding value enough for people to interact with our postings? So now is the time to think about, what you're doing with those exercises, because right now, honestly, you have to be authentic. And we all heard Heather and how authentic she was. And if you're not authentic and putting something out there to add value, you're really going to get deranked. So, being transparent, being authentic, putting maybe a cool picture of your loved ones out there or a cool story out there, is something I think that can help you tremendously with being able to get your social audience up and getting more people engaging on that forefront. So I hope that was helpful there. So from there, we're going to talk about these 3 social accounts currently today. So we're going to deep dive into Instagram. And before we even do that, did you know that 92% of consumers shop online, and out of that, 75 window shop agents and now search for homes on social media? And I'm sure that's probably close to 100 now, because people are at home. So, that's something to take in consideration as far as, there's more eyeballs online than ever before. So Instagram has 1 billion active users. Believe it or not, 71% are 35 years of age or younger. So the average buyer right now is 34. So 71% are going to be, say either 35 or younger. So you could potentially find buyers there. And then also Instagram is now, it says it's the second most engaged platform. I think it's probably number 1 behind Facebook, it's saying. And Instagram, this is a cool stat. In Instagram, 2013, there's 5 million videos that were posted when that feature came out to be able to post videos. And those 5 million videos came out within the first 24 hours. So if you've never done a video on Instagram or Instagram Live, now's the time to really think about that. A really cool thing you could do with Instagram, and you probably see it all the time now, are lives popping up where there's Q&A sessions or interview sessions. So maybe, if there's any real estate professionals here that want to maybe set something up with Maureen, or set something up with Heather, or set something up with any of our panelists, maybe Shelly, you could do the same type of event we're doing, but personalized with your Instagram by just doing a live. Do a quick little live, you can put it on your Insta story, go on live tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We're going to be interviewing Shelly. We're going to find out what's going on the title side of things. right? Super simple, but it's a way for you to be proactive and for you to be able to add value as a thought leader to be able to give back to the community or give back to your followers that are following you within the social platforms. YouTube, 90% of consumers will buy a home, like we already talked about in 2020. I think it's like 100% of consumers almost will buy a home in 2020. And I've always talked about this statistic. And then the next thing you know, this pandemic happened. And I'm like, what the heck? 1.3 billion active users on YouTube, 30 million viewers per day, age of 18 to 49. So that's a good range of buyers and sellers that are on YouTube. So that's something also to take in consideration as well. One thing that Ina said about Instagram. So Instagram, it does show, so when you do a video, it'll show a certain like 10% of your audience. And then if they engage and they like, they'll show the next 10%. But after 24 to 72 hours, that video dies. The cool thing about YouTube is YouTube never dies. I literally was Googling and looking up some information about the SBA loans that they have for small businesses for some relief as we're helping our clients and we want some relief. So looking it up and I found a video from, I think it was someone that was filming a video about this subject matter. And it was like a year ago or 6 months ago or whenever it was, and it wasn't relevant, but it popped up and he only had like 300 views because it was literally just based off the search. It was because of the title. So, you know, think about if you're going to do videos and you want to work with a buyer and they're a first-time home buyer and they're a millennial, how could you do a video sequence for that demographic? Like things to think about. What does the process look like? You know, come up with some value adds where these videos will never die and Google owns YouTube. So that will always help your business thinking out loud to really be able to differentiate yourself and to give yourself an opportunity to leverage that platform.
And if I may interject for a second, when you do videos, I think it's really important to think about it and not just sit in front of the computer and talk about, go get pre-approved, get your finances in order. That's boring. You got to do something so much more exciting, something that no one else is doing, so that people are drawn to your channel, to your site. And also on YouTube, just like on Instagram, you have an hour. On YouTube, you have 24 hours. Again, if you have if you get a lot of views and you get a lot of likes, you are also being promoted. It's pretty much the same system, but it needs to be so much more exciting because every agent is doing this right now, and most people are too afraid to do anything exciting, so they'll just sit in front of the computer and just talk about, and nobody wants to watch somebody just droning about stuff. How to get pre-approved and buy a house. So if it's, something a little bit more exciting, you'll get way further ahead than anyone else.
Yeah, I love that. I love how, Heather takes the approach of storytelling. So if you could put emphasis on storytelling and literally make it fun. Well, I was working with this buyer, first-time home buyer, and I wanted to pull my hair out. So I put together this sequence of videos so that way it could be a resource in a playlist format. Have some fun with it, add your characteristics of humor and fun and exciting, and definitely, don't read off a script. You don't want to be like, so today we're talking about, you want to make it fun. So thank you so much for that. So this is interesting. 75% are females on Facebook. 62% are 50 to 65 plus years of age. So if you're thinking about working with the demographic of empty nesters, well, there you have it. Facebook could potentially be a platform you could use to be able to get out and reach out to those individuals. And they say that if you could do it above 10 seconds, so to 15 seconds or above, then you're going to be the next level. That then Facebook will say that you're like a leading expert, or you're the next level to, if someone's watching your video for more than 10 seconds, you get to that 15-second marker. That's something that then they'll show as additional individuals your content as well. So like Ina said, be fun, be exciting, give good content, good information. And so from there, so just really quick recap. So understanding your what, who's your focus, buyer or seller. So also understanding, why is a prospect looking to buy or sell, and understanding, how to market to that prospect, and really understanding like the, social promotion ads that you want to run. How are you going to target them? Understanding, like how to start marketing and like what you need to do, like build your foundation, like set yourself up with a brand. You have, Leasing Agent 415, she has her brand, the social platforms you're going to use. Are you going to send out mailers like Heather or not? What does your website look like, and how are you going to leverage that website to be able to have good content? Your landing page. We talked about Instapage, and or you potentially can have a landing page on your website that targets that ideal client that you want to focus on. And then understanding your analytics. In these times right now, it's nice where you can be able to say, hey, let's just check in and see what happened with my analytics. How are my video views doing, and how are my connections doing, and am I getting any good engagement with the content that I'm putting out there? So those are all things to think about. So here are some people that you can follow. So you have Josh. He's on $1 Million Los Angeles as far as the listing show. You have Ryan Serhant. You have Graham Steffen. This individual right here is a real estate professional in down south, and he's doing over, I think, 120,000. I think 120,000 a month off of YouTube videos, and he films videos around credit card hacks, bank interest amounts, best things to use as far as all financial type stuff. And he's also a real estate professional. He's an investor, and he doesn't have a big platform like Josh and Ryan Serhant does. That makes a huge difference. And Ryan Serhant just came out with a big video about New York. That's his demographic. So he just did a big New York push. We're New Yorkers. We thrive. We come back stronger than ever. So he's taken a really interesting approach with getting himself out there and adding value. Of course, you can follow us if you would like. We do mission reports on Tuesdays and Thursdays to give back to the community on different tips and things that you could do. Our Instagram channel, and then we have our podcast. And so Ina will be on our podcast today, and we also have a Facebook group page that you could tune into. It's all free resources. So we like to do the best we can to be able to get back and be able to give free resources and tips and suggestions of things that you potentially could do. And you're going to get a lot more from Ina today. So that episode will be out before 5 o'clock today. So those are some things that you can do to follow. And then from there, let's make sure I got so much going on over here. From there, we do have plans. Our plans are here. We do have plans. Just want to go ahead and put that out there for you. So we do have a startup. You can build your foundation from brand, your strategy, your website, your funnels, and get that together. And then we do have the ramp up where we will do more social promotions for video and also listing promotions. Kind of gives you some context. We are offering also too, if anyone wants to set up a strategy call, it's free, no obligation. You don't have to sign up. We just want to help and give back and put things in perspective. And maybe you could take today's meeting, add to maybe a one-on-one meeting that we can have with you, and we'll deep dive into your marketing, your approach, what are you doing, give you examples, and really quick just to kind of give you some context and examples, and we're almost done here. This is David Azimi. So if you look at David Azimi's website and you go under buyer or seller, like I was just talking about, getting focused, he's focusing on first-time home buyer, and seller, he's focusing on looking at downsize. So if I go into looking at downsize page, this page very specifically is going to deep dive and is going to give context around that. So, you can put a video here or text. He has text. You have the call to action. And basically wanting that person looking to make that move. You have some blog articles, and then you have the toolkit box. So this is like, what's your home worth first, search for your next home, set up property alerts, mortgage calculator, getting into your new home. So this kind of gives you an approach as far as what that looks like. And then if I go to a city page, his city page will specifically break down Fremont, California, where then it'll say something like, I'm just loading up here. So it could be a video here as well. Download the Fremont Residence Guide. Here are the things to do: Mission Peak for hiking, Jack's Restaurant, the Fremont Hub, so some good blog articles. If someone's online, they're doing some search, this potentially might be found. Here are some listings that are all available in that area of, say, Fremont, California. We use Real Scout. And down here, this is all the Instagram postings automatically feed to his website. So listings auto feed, Instagram auto feeds. And if I go to his homepage, you'll see that on his homepage, we also have the videos that auto feed at the bottom as well, which makes it nice to automatically have that feed through. So that way it just is an automatic. To give you a female perspective, this is Lori. She's actually in the same office with Leslie. And if I go into, say, I want to go ahead and look at the sell side, and I want to looking at downsize, she actually put a video in there looking to downsize that adds additional value. So looking at downsize, there's the video, there's the call to action, here are the blogs, and then here's the toolkit box. So just to give you some context as far as, go to Instapage, set this up yourself, not a problem. Of course, we can do it for you. It doesn't make too much of a difference. And everyone that is joining today, can get that free opportunity to do that. We also are giving $200 off and 50-50 splits on the startup cost. And on top of that, we are going to go through the list of individuals that are part of today's event, and we're going to give someone this plan here the startup plan. We're going to build your brand, put together your strategy, your website, everything for free. We're picking someone today. So, so stay tuned for that. Just to thank everyone for being a part of this, and we'd love to answer any questions that anyone had. And I hope that was helpful to really think about some technology, some things that you could set up, and how are you positioning yourself so you can have more success with marketing online. All right, so I have the questions up. So if anyone has any questions, you're more than welcome to answer any questions. And I think that pretty much sums up our meeting today. So thank you so much for everyone that was a part of this and stayed to the end. I know we went over a little bit. I'm thankful that Bobbie got to come in, and thankful for everyone that stayed. And this was a lot more smoother last time getting to my segment. It shut off and came back on a couple times with the internet, and it was just a nightmare. So it's like, of course, my section, now we have the issues. So yeah, so it looks like, thank you, Norman. Perfect. No, thank you all as well. I just, appreciate you all, and have a fantastic weekend, and just want to be able to do what we can to give back. If there's any questions, you're more than welcome to shoot away right now. If not, we will have this is already recorded. So we're going to take this and we're going to put it onto our YouTube channel. It'll be available for all of you. So if you want to rewatch it or get any tips or any suggestions, you can. And then stay tuned for Ina's podcast. It'll be out later today. And I appreciate everyone that participated. All right.
Thank you, Norman.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, of course. Awesome. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you.